There was a pretty wild press conference on Monday from Donald Trump. And before we get into the weeds on this, what's your take on some of the things that were said there that stood out to you?
Yeah, it was an interesting press conference to say the least. Of course, our president mispronouncing acetaminophen stands out to most who watched. Um, I think what's interesting is, um, back in April this year, the CDC released data on autism and vaccines. And the data says that 1 in 31 kids in the US have an autism diagnosis, and that number has increased from the year 2000. And so RFK Jr. has, previously spent his career investigating autism and vaccines as a cause. And as the new health secretary of the US, he's really publicly committed to um, providing more answers to the public quickly. Now, the focus of the press conference was certainly the association between Tylenol and autism, which may have come as a surprise to a lot of people, including women who have taken Tylenol during pregnancy. As a former pregnant person, Tylenol is the singular medication that's considered safe for pregnancy. And when you have severe pain, fever, illness, it's a reliable medication that's safe for the fetus, and that's been proven after decades of clinical research.
Just to cut in there real quick, right? So, yeah, President Trump is now recommending that pregnant women do not use Tylenol, claiming that there's been a link between pregnant women using Tylenol and the child having autism. That comes from a preliminary study we're going to talk about here today. And now, certain drugs he's going to talk about that are forms of vitamin B, he's going to say can be used for treating autism as well. So that was like the big point of the announcement on Monday. But back to what you were saying about how the claims he's making are not really well supported.
Yeah, and it's interesting. President Trump really inflamed this issue in his press conference. RFK Jr. and the CDC are actually a little bit more measured in their messages to doctors and to the public. So what's coming out of the press conference is that the FDA is issuing a warning to physicians that acetaminophen is dangerous when taken by pregnant women because of this link to autism. And President Trump even went so far to say that women should fight like hell not to take it. But Tylenol is essentially the only pain reliever that's considered safe in pregnancy. And it's long been established as a safe pain reliever and fever reducer. It's been used since the late 1800s. It went on the market as Tylenol in the 1950s. And it's really the only non-NSAID pain reliever that a pregnant woman can rely on over the course of 9 months. And what's, I think, especially dangerous about this advisement from the president that women should just tough it out when they get sick and fight like hell not to take any medication. What's so dangerous about that is that when you don't treat, when a pregnant woman isn't treated for a medical condition that warrants the use of acetaminophen, like fever, pain, headaches, that can be really dangerous, not only for the woman, but for the fetus. And we know that when they're left untreated, some of these conditions can create, risk of harm or even, death to the fetus, as well as the pregnant person. We know that high fever has actually been associated with developmental defects and otherwise. So the long and the short is that fevers in pregnant women should not be left untreated. And ACOG, which is the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, very clearly states that the research on acetaminophen is clear, it is safe for use in pregnant women, and sustaining a fever and not treating it is dangerous.